Just to reflect a little bit on the Middlesbrough game, we don't want to go too much over old ground, but having had a few days to look back on things, do you just put that one down to a collective day off, just one of those games that comes around every now and again?
No, I think it was one game where the opponent was competing better than us in the first half. It was one game where we didn't compete in the level that we have to do in the first half. In terms of the attack, we couldn't break their press. In terms of the defense, we couldn't stop their playing out or their attacking options. I think the first 50 minutes the game was more or less balanced, but after they scored the goal, they start to play even better, and we start to play worse. Then I was watching 30 minutes of the team where we couldn't show our spirit to defense and we couldn't show our personality to attack. In the second half, in some circumstances, that one is not easy to change, and I valorate the effort of the team to react. It's true that the reaction of the team was not enough to change the result, but for me, the team was showing in the second half one level of personality and character that helped us to control better the game. In the first half, we had just the 38% of the time the ball. In the second half, we had the 64% of the time the ball. So it's so clearly that in terms of attack, even that we didn't create the chances that we wanted to create, the team just changed the dynamic of the attack. Then it showed that in the first half, we were more than the 60% of the time in defense. In the second half, we were less than the 40% of the time in defense. So for me, the team was more aggressive in the second half. It's true that, like I told you, they still had some chances in the second half, and we didn't create all the chances that we want to create in the first half. That's why I consider that we lost that game, because we didn't deserve the 3 points in that day.
Have you been pleased with the response of your players then? Because I'm sure they'll be very keen to put that right away at Barnsley this weekend.
I think if I analyze the other day, you are talking about the other day, or you are talking for the next game?
Well, you come back into training and, you want to draw a line under it. So have you seen a kind of a fight in your players, a will to try and right the wrongs of Saturday?
The first step that I was watching doing this, the team, was the second half of the other day. But it's true that when you analyze the result of the game, you are watching that was not a good game. But for me, the fact, like I telling you, that the team changed the dynamic of the game, so a first step to the reaction. But in that game, this reaction was not enough. What I wanted to see, of course, and all the players have been doing, is to work a lot during this week to change this dynamic and go to Barnsley showing the spirit that we need to show.
How difficult a game is Barnsley away at the moment?
It's not easy and it's not difficult. It's another championship game. Like, it's going to have some of the normal things that the championship games has. Teams that are going to play with their best. Of course, they are not in their best moment, but it's true that and we are not in our best moment away neither. So it's going to be two team challenges to recover the positiveness of the performance and the positiveness of the result. We will be focusing ourselves, and we know that we are going to work in our 100% to get something positive there.
They have a relatively new head coach, Poya Asbaghi, not a name I know at all. Is he somebody that you are aware of in coaching circles over the years?
No, we know that when Barnsley signed one coaching championship, because they are trusting them to change this, in him to change this dynamic. But I am analyzing very specific the last two games that they were playing with him. I know that he was working in another country. He was working after with the national team on Sweden. So I was Sweden. I was analyzing more or less his dynamic just to know, but especially the players, because at the end they continue playing with the same players that they start the season, and some of these players they were playing the playoff the last season. So we go to Barnsley with the highest level of respect, but with the highest level of determination, because the thing that we can control is our determination, and we need to go and show our spirit, because it's going to be the most important thing.
Do you think they will be very different from last season? as you say, there are quite a few players who have been at Barnsley for a little while, even though they've got a new coach in charge.
I think every season is different, especially when you don't keep the same coach. For me, in terms of the squad, they didn't change too much because, like I told you, I can continue watching the striker that they had last year or the central backs last year. They lost one important midfielder, Mowat, that he was the captain of this team the last year, and they have signed new players to take this gap. So in terms of the team similarity players or similar players of the play that the last year, they were doing something for me very important in the championship. But in terms of the coach and in terms of the style of play, for me, one team that now play in different way.
Do you sense there is a pressure of expectation from the Huddersfield Town fans going into this game to see a reaction from the defeat to Middlesbrough, but also they will look at the table and see Barnsley's recent run of form, that a lot of people will look at this and think, this is a game we should be winning?
No, it's a game that, like every game in the championship, to win is going to be a challenge, but it's a game that we want to go there and to show our spirit, to show our determination, to show that the team want to show a reaction, because it's exactly what we need. Playing against any type of opponent in that moment, after 2 defeats in a row, we need to show a reaction to show that the team is competitive team and to show that we are enough ambitions, that we are going to be very focused in this game, because our mentality goes just game by game. And like this is our mentality. We need to show one performance that represents that team, not only in some moment of the game. We want to show this performance in all the minutes of the game. But it's true that you will have one opponent that is going to make the difficult things, like every opponent, and like we do too, against any opponent in the championship.
I was looking at the lineup for the B team match during the week. Some very, very strong lineup and some big names in there as well. Does that give you cause for thought? Any of those B team selections this week might make the step up or return back into the first team this weekend?
We try to manage the B team games in terms of the develop the young players. But when the B team is friendly game, we want to develop some of our players that are not having enough minutes, and they can show what they can give to the team and what they can offer to the first team, because they are part of the first team. And these games help them to be fit enough to compete after in the championship. Every player that I select to play there was because I considered that was necessary to have the game time, even if friendly game. And I considered that was important to give this game time to prepare them to be in the best conditions that they can be in the championship games.
So somebody like Jordan Rhodes, who we talked about last week, having played some minutes for the B team, how close is he to a first team selection now?
I consider that what I planned before to play that game, or when he started to recover to the trainings, was to make 2 games, or what I was talking with the physical staff and with the medical staff was planified to watch him a couple of times in the B team to recover his normal fit level, to can arrive in a good conditions to can help the team, to can help the first team. I know that he was a long period of time without make trainings, but I was watching, like I said from the beginning, one Rhodes that is in a better physical condition that I was expecting him to be. So I don't think that now is necessary to watch him many games of 90 minutes. The other day he was playing 60 minutes, and I planned the same for the next week to have the opportunity we planned with the same idea to go in the next beating game to play again 60 minutes. And I think with this couple of game exposure, he will be ready to help the first team. And we consider that he's in front of the striker we have at that moment.
Equally, there are players, as you talked about there, who need minutes, who I'm sure are desperate to play. Josh Ruffles, Rolando Aarons, Mipo Adebayo. How hard is it to keep them motivated, keep them happy when they're not necessarily getting the chances in the first team that they would like and that they would want?
I think the motivation part have to come always from the player. if you are well playing and you are not having the minutes that you want to have, because the first step is that every player needs to have the desire to help the team playing minutes. But like always I say, we have 24 first team players and only I can select 18 to go to the games. And as soon as I select 18 players that they can be available to the game, only 11 can be in the first 11. So from 24 players that we have in the first team, only 11 are going to be in the first 11. So it means that more than the double of the players can be unhappy that you are watching or can be happy because they are helping. Of course, you have the opportunity to select, to rotate, to involve different type of players, but I trust a lot to get a good performances. In to give the minutes, first of all, that the players that are in front for one moment that they deserve. And when the players for me are competing well, it's important to give continuity, to give stability, and to show that if they deserve to continue playing, give the option to continue playing, even if the other players could be in the same space. Because from the beginning, I always say that I trust a lot in the group of players that I am working with. I think that all of them could be in the first 11, but I need to analyze how the team is competing, which players have maybe more the habit to play, and every player needs to wait for his opportunity and to use the opportunity when the opportunity arrives. In this process, until the opportunity arrives, some of the players give up. They are going to have less chance to this opportunity arrive, and if the opportunity arrive, to use this opportunity. I think these beating friendly games help them to keep in the level, and we always are thinking how we can help our players to be in the best conditions to can impact the first team.
A couple of last ones from me. Alexvallejo was due to have surgery. Has he now had that surgery, and how did it go?
He's doing right now the surgery. So he started this morning with this, so I cannot tell you the result of the surgery. But after, I only can tell you that the surgery is being today, and we are going to need between 5 to 6 weeks after the surgery to come back with the group.
Okay. And other injuries, is there anybody else who will definitely be missing for this weekend?
Not yet, because the only player that was on doubt was Matty Pearson. After the game, I was saying to you that he didn't feel enough well, but the problem was that he was feeling unwell, feeling a pain in the back that he was managing before. But he was working today in the pitch with the medical staff, and if his conditions, if he can train tomorrow, he will be another player available, because he had a little bit unfair willing and unwell feeling, plus the pain in the back that was the fact that stopped him to continue playing the previous game.
That's great. Thank you very much. Good luck this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Stephen, we'll come to you, please. Steve, we can't hear you if you're talking. Right, well, Steve, we'll give you a second to see if you can get sorted. Leon, we'll come to you, please, mate, if that's okay.
Okay. Hello, Carlos. Morning.
How are you? Good morning.
Yeah. I was just sort of, wondering your away form. You've won 2 games. You'll be hoping that improves a little if you can keep in your position and look towards the playoffs.
More than towards the playoff or to another circumstance, I think it's one point that is necessary to improve to be more competitive team. Because as soon as you are not getting results every time you go away, it means that you are not being enough competitive in the championship. And what we want to be is to put the team in the highest level of competitiveness that we can show.
It was difficult. I went to the game at Barnsley last year, and you were unlucky to lose that in the last minute. That's probably a motivation, with it being a derby, to hopefully improve and turn it round this time.
It's true that defeat, I think, was one of the more difficult defeat that I was having the last year.
Yeah.
Maybe very similar about the feeling that I had this year after Cardiff, because in both games we have the opportunity to get something else that at the end we achieve. Then more than be thinking that we come back to the same stadium and just to give an answer from that game. We need to give the answer from ourselves because we arrived to that game from one defeat the last week against Middlesbrough when we didn't show our right performance. And it's clear that we want to show again the team that we are. We want to show again our spirit. We want to show again that we are an aggressive team in attack and in defense. And this is highest motivation than the game that we played close to 1 year ago.
Yeah. Do you see you're in the table? You are, well, you're probably in a similar position to this time last year. Do you feel more confident about your prospects coming into winter, that you can be more consistent and stronger?
I think we have one squad that now is able to allow me to think that we are going to be a competitive team and we can be more stable team.
Yeah.
Because it's true that as soon as you have a couple of players that can play in each position, you're going to be less affected by the injuries. Right now, for example, we have lost the two main positional midfielders.
Yeah.
The guy is Hawk and Vallejo. We create one squad where both players were taking the role to be the positional midfielder. And the team, for me, continue to be competitive with one player like Scott. So it's so that even not having the two players that we consider that they have the role to play as a position midfielder, because I consider that the best of Scott High is when he's playing as a number 8.
Yeah.
After we lost two important players, the team for me continue to be a competitive team, having the option to play with Scott and O'Brien in the middle. So for me, it shows that the group of the players is higher and they are close in the same level. And now even you lost two players that are playing one position, you have the third option that allow you to continue having the same competitive level of the team. And this is for me one fact that gives me a lot of confidence, because it's true that we didn't find the solution the last year after one period where we suffered the injuries. And I think with this group of players, we have enough possibilities to don't be watching any injury as an any level of excuse to don't perform and to achieve what we have to achieve.
Yeah.
So I think we have one group of these 24 players that I told you before that made me complicate the selection of them. At the same time, help us to have enough number of players to go to any pitch and to go to face any opponent and to feel that we can have options to be a very competitive team.
December and going up to the Christmas period, New Year, is a very important time for all teams. And you look at the Championship, I think there's something like 5 points separating yourselves with Bristol City in 18th, and it's so close, isn't it? I mean, a lot can happen in this next month to maybe define the second half of the season.
I think it's true that the Championship, the gap between the teams is not high, and you can be watching that you are saying that only 5 points make differences between the teams that are close to the playoff and the teams that are in the more low part of the table. So it means that there are no high difference in the teams. That's why increase the level of importance, the fact to go just with the mentality to game by game, and knowing that small details this season can have a lot of influence in the position of the table and in your results of the games. So the fact that the level of the competition is too tight, just have to increase the level of our focus in each game, our attention, our concentration, knowing that every opponent is going to be a high challenge, because this is exactly what the table is saying to you.
Yeah.
That every opponent can compete against every opponent, and this only have to prepare our minds to go to the games with our high level of determination, of ambition, of precaution too, and of focus. That this precaution to create one level of alert that just move you to give your best in the pitch. Because as soon as you don't move your best to the pitch, you can suffer one dynamic of negative result. That is exactly what we want to avoid.
Yeah, and scoring more goals in the first half of games to enable you to control football matches. That will be something that you'll be keen to work on and possibly improve on as well.
I think something that I am focused that we need to improve is our attacking perspective, because it's true that I think that we can attack better than we are doing.
Yeah.
We are one team that we want to have the control of the game and the control of the ball. You can have the control of the game having the control of the ball, or you can have the control of the game without the ball. But we want to be one club that know how to use the ball and create chances when we have the ball. And it's some of the points that we continue insisting to improve. Of course, during one game, if you start scoring, you can try to keep the control of the game without use the ball, or you want to have still the control of the game having the ball.
Yeah.
This is always the two possibilities that you have. In some moments, we are feeling more comfortable when we are not having the ball than when we have the ball. But it's true that for me, the team have enough skills to go to the games, having more the ball and control the game, not only so defending well in the moments that we have the ball, but don't move everything to that moments, trying to have the feeling of the control of the ball when we have the ball too. The control of the game, when we have the ball too.
Yeah. And finally, I was going to ask you about Danny Ward. You've got him fit and he's becoming a consistent player for you, and the sort of player that you hope for when he came to Huddersfield.
That's why I told you that for me it's important to give the continuity to the players and to find some stability to achieve, to receive the best from the players. Yeah. I think with the pass of the games, Danny Ward is having a more important role in the first 11 of the team, because he, for me, was deserving this role.
Yeah.
But it's true that he has strikers in the back that are going to challenge him to continue giving their best, to keep in this gap. For me, every player that is taking one important gap in the team, they need to compete with the teammates in the positive competition that we have to always be showing that they can be the best players to help the team.
Okay. Thank you, Carlos, and good luck Saturday. Thank you.
Thanks, Liam. We'll see you Saturday. Alfie, got anything to add?
Yeah, hi, Carlos. Just a quick one from me. Levi Colwell, how's his reaction been this week in training after dropping out of the side?
I think very positive. The first thing that he had a couple of days to travel to his city to be with his family, because he was a long time without have the opportunity to visit his family. He's a young player that we need to manage some of these type of details to help him in his development. But he was training normal with the group from Tuesday, and he was just making the normal week of training. Then if everything goes well tomorrow, he will be in the first 11 of the team.
And how important is that, obviously taking him from Chelsea, that you do manage that side of him, that side of making sure that he sees his family and that he's comfortable with him being so young?
I think it's something necessary for him, first of all, because he arrived to one moment of the season where he was playing many games in a row. The risk of the injury started to increase, and the need of the fitness was more necessary to can help in his performance, because this is what the team need, to see any player in the pitch that can help can help the team to perform well. After, we need to analyze every case, every scenario, and every player. And for us, it was important to give these couple of days that he didn't have when the team was having the international break. But because in some moments he need to refresh a little bit to help, because when you are young, maybe you have more the need to have this contact with your family. And we understand that it was important for him, even if he was a player that, if I don't take the risk of the injury, he could be in the first 11 of the team, because we know that, and he knows that to be a competitive level in the championship, to be a competitive level, and to be a competitive player in the football world, you need to have the habit to play in a row, and you need to beat these challenges that the football is giving to you, and beat them to face the difficulty moment where you are not resting or where you are a little bit far of your family, but continue going for your dream, because it's to be playing football in the highest level, and this is part of the sacrifices that the football is going to have.
Brilliant.